Hi there, I'm Dr. Peshkin from IronChiro with Josh from Life Itself, talking about Chaga some more. We're going to be focusing on anti-inflammatory properties, adaptogenic benefits, and stress management using Chaga. The key word we talk about here is inflammation, right? We talk about inflammation of the body, if there's an injury, if there's a sprain, if there's a strain. Inflammation is actually your body's ability to heal itself. So things that we do in our office, whether it's some cupping or Graston or gua sha or deep tissue massage, shockwave, all these different things that we do, even spinal decompression with pumping the inflammation, it's all causing localized focused inflammation in the body, allowing itself to heal. How does Chaga work on inflammation?
Amazing synopsis of inflammation. From my perspective, it's the alarm system of the body that says something's wrong and we need to direct attention to this spot so that we can heal it. We can send in our forces of healing. And we don't want to mess with that too much. We obviously don't want it to get out of control and become to a place where the body can't bring healing, which if there's too much inflammation that can happen. But we do want a little bit of inflammation. And the thing about Chaga that makes it very interesting and unique is that it intelligently works with inflammation. And it does so by releasing cytokines. Cytokines are a messenger of the white blood cell to go and attack and maybe rebuild a part of the body, right? Now, example, you hit your thumb, there's a huge cytokine storm that comes to your thumb. Now that's good, we want that cytokine storm to happen. But with things like eating foods that are ultra processed, or maybe stress can also cause a huge dump of cytokines inside of your system, that's just gonna start to signal to your body that you have an issue that it's not curable. So it's gonna be an unending cycle of chronic inflammation, which we have.
Chronic disease.
Chronic disease, right. It's your immune system unable to shut off. You're constantly in a state of inflammation. Now, what Chaga can do is it can decrease the cytokine storms that are coming from chronic inflammation. That's the interesting, intelligent way that Chaga can work with it. And the last thing I'll probably say is if you do have a chronic issue of inflammation, not only should you include something that's an anti-inflammatory, but also probably get to the root of that with maybe changing your diet from inflammatory foods, and likely look into the sources of stress and see which areas you might be able to control and change in your life, and maybe adopt some practice like yoga or meditation to help relieve some of that stress.
I agree with you 100%. In our practice here, something that makes us a little different in IronChiro is that we preach that a stressed body can't heal itself, right? If you're not sleeping well, if you're not getting proper hydration, if you are constantly stressed because of either it's going to be, magnetic stress, with looking at like TVs all day or in front of a screen all day, if you're looking at environmental stress, which is, eating processed bad food, physical stress, you're on your phone all day long, right? So one thing that we do here is something called brain tap, which just helps people meditate so we can get the brain into a relaxed state, which is why we serve the Chaga after treatments, and that's why we call it post-treatment, because this is a good way to kick off the body. So Josh, talk nerdy to me a little bit. Tell me about some of the chemicals that are actually in Chaga.
One of the most powerful ones that I found inside of Chaga is called superoxide dismutase. And another one that I'll pair with that one, because they're similar, is called betulinic acid. Now those two things are paired together because they both come from the birch tree that the Chaga grows on. So the Chaga, as it grows off of the birch tree, synthesizes these compounds from the birch and then imbues them into the Chaga, which will make it into your tea. Now, the important thing about these two compounds is they are extremely high in antioxidants. In fact, it's the highest antioxidant containing compound in the world.
Whoa.
Yeah, so there's no other food that has more antioxidants than Chaga, 43 times more than blueberries.
Oh, wow.
So it is very, very good, and antioxidants are very good for a number of different things. Classically, you'll hear them be good for longevity, which is long, healthy life. Anti-aging, which can be put into the categories of healthy skin, eyes, hair, nail, and brain. So, and very good also for your gut health. On top of that, you'll see this black outer layer on the Chaga here. That is all melanin. So the same pigment that's in our skin that gives it color, that is the whole outer layer of chaga, and it's what gives it that rich, dark black color to the tea. Now that is extremely good for a bunch of different things as well. Very good as a beauty tonic. Once again, eyes, skin, hair, nails. Melanin makes sense, right?
Sure.
But also good to dye the cells a color, and so that we can receive more benefits from sunlight.
Vitamin D.
Yes, exactly.
It's the one thing, especially living in Rochester, where we have no sun, that we need all the time. You know, it's the most important vitamin we can take, and we get it from the sun. It's free, essentially.
Yes.
So having that will definitely help you absorb like a sponge a little bit more, I'm guessing.
Both absorb, and also it has vitamin D2 in it as well. It's one of the only vegan sources of vitamin D.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So I know there's another compound in there as well that also is found in, I believe, CBD and marijuana. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so triterpenes is what you're referring to.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, and it is a class of plant chemicals that are extremely good to be anti-inflammatory. Once again, they can be found in things like medicinal mushrooms and cannabis. Those are the two biggest ones, and very helpful for pain relief. So you'll know from CBD, the big claim to fame is pain relief,
Yes.
right? So those same types of compounds exist also in medicinal mushrooms, and chaga is no exception.
And is chaga legal in all 50 states?
Yes, yeah, as far as I know, yeah.
Nice.
Anything in your digestive system that needs, like, for inflammation to be released, chaga is amazing at that.
Right.
And as you know, there's not many answers in the Western world for anything gut related. So, yeah.
Right, it's like, let's throw something against the wall and hopefully it sticks.
Yes.
Now, of course, at chiropractic office, we deal with joint problems. How about osteoarthritis?
Yeah, incredible. Also, anywhere that inflammation is going to upset your body, one of the big ones is joints. So chaga is very helpful to get joint health, joint lubrication back. I always recommend pairing it with a little bit of a yoga practice too. I'm a yoga instructor as well.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Listen, if you don't move it, you lose it.
That's right. That's right.
And we also, our name for IronChiro is moving in the right direction. You gotta move your body.
Yes.
You gotta pump it through, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So, adaptogenic benefits, okay? We talked a little bit about stress. Adaptogens are basically things that help us, that we can consume or use to help us deal with stress, right? We mentioned earlier in the earlier episode, cortisol levels. How does that help with cortisol levels?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the instrument is called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis.
HPA axis.
HPA axis.
You nailed it, man.
Yeah, cool.
Good job.
So it's kind of like a thermostat for your stress, right, in your body. And so what happens is if that axis is overstimulated, your thermostat is really high and you're going to feel a very high stress response. What adaptogens do is they help to regulate the thermostat to be at the comfortable temperature. And so you can take on stressful scenarios in your life and you won't necessarily be shooting the thermostat up, right? So that's what the adaptogenic quality does. Most other herbs that we have in our Western society are either a stimulant or a sedative. You're either pushing that thermostat up or you're cranking it down to either get you going or relax you. Now, adaptogens are super interesting in the sense that once you take them, you can either be ready to tackle a physical or effortful situation that might call upon some stimulation, or you could relax if you have nothing else going on and you could really dive into that feeling. So adaptogens are helpful to mitigate that release of cortisol and prepare you for anything that comes your way.
It's interesting because we live in this world now where we do something called heart rate variability testing here as well.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, when we do this test, I would say 99% of the people we do this test on are in sympathetic overload, and they don't even realize it. But they don't realize their cortisol levels are high. They don't realize why they can't sleep well. They're also drinking about 16 cups of coffee a day to kind of keep that momentum going, And so having something like chaga would be like putting some water on that fire for them will calm them down. And it'd be really interesting to see how those people over time, if they use this for about 2 to 3 months, how their whole lifestyle would completely change.
Yes, it's so cool that you mentioned that. I'll come back to melanin as one of the things that's very important for that either up-regulation of the energy or the down-regulation. You can either drink it in the morning or at night, because melanin harmonizes our circadian rhythm. Melanin is the precursor to melatonin being released inside of our body. Melanin gets eaten up by our pituitary gland, which then produces melatonin in our body. So it's much better to have a source of melanin than a source of melatonin, because that way your body can then produce it naturally and then know where to put it given the time of day that you're in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we're gonna come back next time with another episode. We're gonna be going over the immune system and antiviral properties, as well as energy and endurance boosting.